All right, Solomon. So here in this video, I just want to go over kind of the FreedomSoft training workflow, FreedomSoft workflow, whatever you want to call it. So this is work in progress. This is not set in stone. This is something I want to hear feedback from you on how you think that the workflow should go. But I don't want to get too crazy with dropping all kinds of new lead sources onto you until you and I have a really good rhythm in FreedomSoft that we're both following really well. And I think the way we're going to go about this is that we're going to come up with this kind of a quick, this may turn into like 3 or 4 pages by the time we're done with it, but just kind of a workflow system that we both know. When we log into FreedomSoft, I know what you're going to be doing, and I know what I'm going to be doing. Um, and I want you to handle these leads in ways that are fast, efficient, no busy work, getting right to finding people that are interested in selling, and everything else is really just kind of garbage to us. We just get rid of it. We don't focus any time on it. We don't do any work on it. So that is the kind of the flow of how I like to work FreedomSoft. So anyways, I've talked about that before. So let me go through the FreedomSoft training real fast. I'm going to send this to you, and I'm going to get some feedback from you. Or I'm going to be looking for feedback from you anyways on how you think how this should flow. So we've got our realtor leads and we got our direct to seller leads, right? So let's go through our realtor leads first. So a lead for realtors are a pain in the ass. Okay, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor, and I know more than anybody that realtors are a big, huge pain in the ass because most realtors, they're starving to death. They don't sell any properties. The average realtor sells like 1.5 properties per year. When this to kind of put this in perspective, like probably 90% of the realtors we're texting uh, maybe have sold one property or two properties in the last couple of years. Um, so we're going to get a lot of realtors that when we text them, they're going to be jumping all over us. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, a client, somebody that I can try to sell properties to. And those are not the people that we are interested in really working with. When the reason we text real estate agents is because a lot of these real estate agents, like for example, I'm dealing with this. This is a good one right here. This Jessica Hernandez. That oh, oops, that's not even the one. Here, it's a previous one that I just talked to. Anyways, I'm not going to pull it up because that's going to waste time. But when I called her, she has a couple, these friends of hers that have this property that's off market, and that they've been talking about selling this property, but they really don't want to list it with anybody, and so on and so forth. And so she's just realtors are going to come across these type of leads where the seller really doesn't want to list it with them or doesn't really want to list it at all, and this real estate agent knows that, so that is an off-market deal. So if an agent can provide us, here is a lead. If an agent can provide us with an address of an off-market property, and so when they send us an address, we immediately check it to see if it's on the MLS. If it's on the MLS, it's not off-market. That's on-market, right? That's not what we're looking for. It's on-market. Manib is already working that, so that we don't need to be even looking at it. But if they send us an address that's off market, it's not on the MLS, uh, and where the seller does not want to list the property, that is a agent lead. Pretty much everything else is not an agent lead. Anything else, if the agent wants to meet with us, wants to do some kind of video chat, wants to call and talk about criteria, and wants to do searches for us, and so on and so forth. This is just an agent that wants to work for us. We don't want that. We really just want to say, hey, we already farm. Just tell them, Brian's already an agent. He farms the MLS every day. Or don't even call it farming the MLS. He's on the MLS every day looking for properties. That's not what we're looking for. Just tell them exactly what we're looking for. Because a lot of them don't understand. Just tell them we're looking for a property that's not on the MLS, that the seller does not want to list with the real estate agent, and that is a property that we would like to work with you on. If you know somebody like that, then that is what we're after. So you have to tell, a lot of times you have to tell these agents specifically what we want, what we're looking for. So anyways, that's a lead. So the workflow. So Solomon, you're going to be texting off to these realtors. You're going to be finding any off-market sellers of this that that we talked about up here. The first thing you're going to try to get is an address from the real estate agent. If they ask for a referral fee or how we're going to pay them, just tell them we typically pay between $3,000 to $5,000 a deal. But once they send you the address, make sure it's not on the MLS. If it is, just send it over to Manib, and then just tell that agent, hey, we are looking for off-market properties, a property that is not on the MLS that the seller does not want to list with the real estate agent. That's what we're looking for. Just so we got to tell them specifically what we're looking for, if it is on the MLS. But if it's not on the MLS, then we're continuing, and if the address isn't on the MLS, then we're continuing on this checklist, right? So the next step would be, once you have the address, ask them what price the seller is looking for on the property. If they won't give that price to you, then go ahead and move on to step 5, which is determine the ARV and the estimated offer. If they haven't given you a price, go ahead and send a price range to them saying, if our estimated offer is $330, tell them that, we're looking somewhere between, to make an offer somewhere between $310 to $350 on this property, and send them that and say, is it worth for us continuing to talk? Is it worth for Brian to give you a call? So on and so forth. And then if the agent says yes, then sign that task to me for me to immediately follow up. Okay, sign that to me as a lead, or for Brian to call, either way. So my workflow after that is, so you just know what I'm doing, is when I get the lead, I call these leads, I make appointments, I put contracts out on these, and then I try to sell them. Okay, so direct to sellers, very similar. So you are texting them out, you'll find interested sellers. So direct to sellers, we're not dealing with any real estate agent, not typically anyways, right? We're texting directly to the homeowners, and we're finding interested sellers. We're getting an address for them if we don't already know the address. If we do already know the address, then obviously we don't need to ask for that. But the big thing is that we're trying to find out from the sellers, not just if we have the address, we're trying to find out what they want for the property. How much are they looking to get for the property? And if they won't give that to you, again, we're just moving on to step 5. We're doing our own analysis, we're making ARVs, and we're sending a range to them. You've already been doing this. I think it's great what you've been doing. And then if we send them a range and the seller's still interested, they send them a range, hey, we're thinking somewhere around 250 to 290 on this house. Is it worth for us to come out and take a quick look at it? If they say yes, boom, that's when you assign that lead to me. That when it drops, and then when you attach that lead to me, as you know, the workflow is you click on this, that's immediately going to assign a task to me, which is going to drop right here and immediately give me a task to follow up on. So, and those are the tasks and those are the leads that I go follow up on. So that's it. So then I'm chasing those down. So now the next thing I want to talk about is dealing with leads in the text application. So when we're in here, we're trying to keep this thing clean. So of course you're going through these leads, and you're making the appropriate status leads, and you're following up with these people to try to get addresses, to try to get prices, so on and so forth. And then once you get a price and it works, you're then assigning that lead status to me or you. Okay, so here's kind of the rules that I want to follow. And again, this is work in progress, so we're going to be changing this as we go through this to make sure this flows really well between the two of us. Okay, so in the text here, this is how I want to keep this cleaned up. So any stops, unsubscribes, piss offs, wrong numbers, whoever, people, those type of things, we don't care about those messages. Clear them out. So those are the first things you want to keep cleared out of there. We don't want those in there, okay? So get that junk out of there so we know we're just looking at stuff that could be potentially leads. Any message that is assigned to me as the status, so any message in here that's assigned, that has a lead status of me, then I'm responsible for clearing that lead. So I'm going to log, so every morning I'm logging in. My workflow is I log in, I go right to this, I read, I see what any lead statuses that I need to read immediately that are assigned to me. Then once I've gone through my text messages and cleared those out, then I go into my task manager and start working through my leads. Okay, same goes for you. So when you log in to your FreedomSoft, first thing in the morning or first thing in the afternoon or night, whenever you're working, first thing you do when you log into FreedomSoft, you're going right here to your text messages. Anything assigned to you, you're going through those and making the appropriate responses, making the appropriate lead status changes. So if that lead has moved, let's say for example in this one, you have moved that from contacting the person to getting an address to getting a price range to making determining the ARV and our offer price is pretty similar to what they're wanting. From boom right there, then you're assigning that to me and you're clearing it out because you're done with it, right? Because then that lead is going to go to me. So you're working through the steps on yours, and I'm not going to get in here and clear yours out. So these right here, I'm not going to touch these. I might get in here and read these if I see something really familiar or something really interesting, but I'm not going to clear these out. These are yours. So mine, that's why it's important to make sure that these lead statuses are either assigned to me or to you. So I noticed like this one, for I think is this one, is the lead, the task is assigned to me, okay? But the lead is assigned to you. So really what we need to do is make sure that that lead is assigned to me so that, and then that will add an extra task, and you can, looks like you have this one as run comps. But it's going to assign another task here in a second, right? But that way, when I go in here in the first thing in the morning, I can kind of go through here. I can see what leads I have, responses that are specifically to me, just like the ones that are specific to you. So, but this one, just going back to it, because it's going to assign two different tasks. Don't, make sure you don't have, you can clear one of these. So it doesn't matter because I have the task, but just make sure in lead details it is assigned to me. Okay. So, so anyways, if it's assigned to you, you're dealing with it. Assigned to me, I'm dealing with it when it comes to the task or to the text part of it in here. And pretty much anything else, if that's not assigned to me, I'm letting you handle that. You're the one that's responsible for doing the lead status changes and moving those through the progresses. And I think you already have a pretty good workflow on that, but I'll put that in writing too, so that that you're making the lead status changes the way that we have talked about. But you and Megan have already kind of worked through that, and we've worked through that together, and I think you're doing a pretty good job of that. But I want to put that in writing so we know exactly how you're working through these lead statuses from new to assigning them to a new one. But anyways, that's it for the training today. So I'm going to send you this right here. I want you to kind of think about what I'm talking about and how we can make this flow together. I'll also work on trying to add to this to do the lead status changes steps that we've all set up in the workflow automation, right? You've already been doing that, but it'd probably be a good idea to just kind of go through this and put this in writing on how that flows through. But you've already been doing it, but I'll put it in writing just so we make sure we're on the same page. But that's it. So hopefully all that makes sense. This is going to be a big work in progress. But once I kind of feel like you and I have really meshed together as far as working these leads and being a team effort, and we're not duplicating efforts, then that's when I'm going to start piling lead sources into this thing for you to start working and sending and texting and then sending me leads. And we're going to do quite well once we get that up and rolling on a consistent basis. So, I mean, already you're kicking out leads for me. I'm working leads and stuff that's coming through. So they just need to be worked properly. But I think it can be done a lot better once we have this flow and kind of the responsibilities of FreedomSoft assigned appropriately to each one of us, so that we can move massive amounts of leads through this thing and really focus, get motivated sellers in front of us and get those shifted over to me so I'm working those leads right away.